Hello everyone, welcome to episode 14 of TotemCast. My name is Lucario, and I wanted to talk about a couple things in regard to raiding and world first and such. Raid leading first of all, because that is the main focus I wanted to kind of get into. So it's well known in like my community anyways, or the Legacy 30 community, that I am not a raid leader. I've never been a raid leader. I am terrible at raid leading. I know how to do Herald of the Titans, and that's something else we're going to talk about as well, but when it comes to raid leading itself, I am just the absolute worst player when it comes to mechanics. I can't call out mechanics, I can't pay attention, I can't remember, I can't organize. It's just that's just not my strong suit. So I've always wanted somebody else to do it, and take the lead on it. And sometimes we have that. Like when Duty was still here, he was pretty much the raid leader. That was his forte. Duty was a phenomenal raid leader. Me and him have our differences on things. I never really wanted it to ever come down to that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, we are two different people, and disagreements do happen. So it is what it is. Hopefully he'll be back. It'd be nice to see Duty again. But I don't think we ever had somebody quite as good of a raid leader as Duty. Duty Hills was phenomenal. He honestly was the reason we even got world first Arthas, or ICC 20, or I'm sorry, ICC 10-man heroic for the level 30 bracket. No one else has ever done it. And we were able to do it thanks to his raid leading. And, when we did the normal version, he bought everybody t-shirts. The 10 people that were participating, he bought us all t-shirts with their names on it. Forever immortalized, and I've never forgot that. I've always thought that was really, really cool. And I still have my shirt. I'm always going to keep my shirt. If I had room, I would frame it and I would hang it up on the wall, because it's always going to be an iconic moment with the community when we first took ICC down. When the Lich King first dropped, it was a great moment. And it was probably 5 months later, I think, that we actually organized a 10-man ICC heroic, which at the time period it was even harder, obviously. There's been another group that came in and did it too, but it's like whatever, because we did it first, and that's what matters. We set the path for other people to succeed, even if they kind of sap the joy out of raiding, in my opinion. But hey, maybe I'll bring that up. Maybe we'll talk about that. I don't really care. Like I know some people don't want me talking about this kind of stuff. Oh, it's taboo. Like positivity. We do have a positive community, and I'm very proud of the positivity that we have. But I'm also kind of like very defensive of things. So when I see somebody else like ripping off of us, I'm gonna call it out. And then of course, it's me talking about Golden Twinkies. Golden Twinkies have done nothing. I mean, the community itself is probably a good community. I don't know, but the leader is a piece of crap. I don't like this person. She's done nothing but pretty much rip off of us and feign ignorance the whole time. Even try to take world first from us, and I'd be like, hey, we actually got the world first. And then she's like, what? No, I got world first. I'm like, no, actually you did not, and here's a video of it, by the way. I mean, I understand too when people want to get like a full raid group and like go storm Molten Core. But you don't need like 25 or 40 people for Molten Core. Molten Core is a joke. Like the whole point of us even raiding at this bracket in the first place is just for the community aspect. It's for fun. Like you gotta her part of her thing is like, we have to have the biggest raids. Well, I mean, that's great. I get that, but this is not 2005, 2004, or whatever for Molten Core. Like none of this matters anymore. Like I could get 5 people and we could storm Molten Core and clear it out effectively with no issue. But it's not the point of getting the numbers for it. It's the point of it's to have fun with the bros, and that seems to be the missing case out there, on top of her poaching too, but that's another thing. I don't care. I know some people are going to be like, why are we even talking about this? Well, nobody really seems to like this person particularly, but hey, the funny thing is too, the moment we have a podcast, she has a podcast. It's just word for word, beat for beat. It is a copy and paste of whatever we do. And then it's just like, what are you talking about? But I digress. We're gonna get back on topic. Yeah, no matter what, I've always thought Duty was like the best raid leader, and I've had other raid leaders come in since then. Sorry, it's just I try to forget that they're even a thing, and then it always just comes back, and it's just like, God, why? I don't want to even acknowledge you. It's like that little annoying brother, and you're just kind of just trying to ignore them so you don't get embarrassed around your friends, but they're embarrassing you. But not in like a cute family way. It's more of like, I can't stand knowing the fact that you're right here, you're ruining my day. Stupid. I don't know, back to the raid leading part. I feel like I have to rant sometimes, and, you know, whenever I free ball on the microphone, that's just kind of like what happens. I kind of say whatever. You know, no apologies here, of course. But I've had some other raid leaders. Druid Man, whenever he was raid leading for a little while, he got burnt out real quick because he felt like everything was just, the weight of the world was put on him. And maybe in a way that's kind of what happened with Duty as well. I don't really know. Because Duty, I guess, kind of started acting the same way. And I told Druid Man, like, hey, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to do this. It's not really a big deal. Like, no one's going to twist your arm on making you raid lead. And he didn't want to do it anymore, which is fine, because we were struggling with Sunwell Plateau. You know, I try to be an understanding person, so it's like, you know, hey, if you don't want to do this anymore, that's perfectly fine. Let's just finish for tonight, and then we'll go from there, like, you know. And he hasn't raid led since. I mean, he pops in every so often, and he'll, like, give out his, like, corrective or instructive criticism on what we need to do better or whatever, and, you know, it is what it is. And then I had two other raid leaders come in. One was a guy named Kaleth. He was pretty new to the community. I really took a shine to Kaleth. I thought he was funny. The guy talked a lot, and he wanted to do this, so I was like, hey, well, I mean, if you want to organize events and, you know, that's one less thing I have to worry about, then have at it. And he did a good little job for a little while. He kind of disappeared to go play another video game, and then he keeps coming back saying, like, I'm back, but he's not really back. But I'm sure he'll be back. Like, that's the cool thing about the bracket, is everybody comes back at some point. And the other one was a man named TC. I've had people ask me about this, so I'm just going to go ahead and talk about it because I don't really care. TC was somebody that I give access to being a raid leader. TC, here's the thing about him, and I'm saying this as nice as I can. TC's been a part of the community since pretty much the very beginning. He's been around for nearly 4 years. Going on 4 years, I should say. But here's the other part of that to say. So he's been around, it just he hasn't been here. Like, he raided with us back in Shadowlands, and then he was just kind of like in the Discord, but he never did anything with us for over 3 years. And then he randomly comes back to WoW. I guess he had internet. I forgot exactly what the lore is that he told me. Like, oh, I got Wi-Fi again, I can play. I'm like, okay, cool, welcome back, hey, let's play. He wanted to set up events and everything, which is fine. Like I said, that's just one less thing I had to do. But the problem with TC is we have a schedule. We've always pretty much raided on the weekend. That's been kind of like what we've done this entire time. TC would set up events at like 3 o'clock on a Tuesday for his time zone, which I'm not even on my lunch break at work at this point. But he would do that, and then he would get pissed off whenever people don't show up. And it's like, well, yeah, because we usually raid on the weekend. We've always raided on the weekend. People are used to that. People who usually show up for raid usually are available around that time. That's why we do it on the weekend. It's historically been known that we do that. And then, you know, we still have this, but we have a blood infusion service created by the Druid Man. The Druid Man is the only person at the bracket that knows how to get somebody the blood infusion done so they can get their Shadowmourne. So if you're a melee player, this is your best weapon straight up. You're going to want to get this if you're like a warrior, paladin, DK, you know what I mean. And Druid Man has this as a service, and TC knew this and thought, you know what, I'll do it myself. So he set up an event to help somebody get it. Did not know anything about what he was doing, and this is kind of this part embarrassed me because I'm like, you're supposed to be the raid leader. You're supposed to know what you're doing here. But also, you should also know that this is freaking impossible and only one person knows how to do it. You took no time to learn anything about it for the scaling, and then you ended up screaming at everybody. From what I've heard from a couple people, he was just pissed off and yelling at everybody. Then somebody accidentally killed the boss, and then he rage quit. According to what I'm told, I don't know, I wasn't there because the time was just not set up appropriate for me to be able to play. But he did make a habit of blaming me for like the shortcoming of the raid. He told me that it's my fault that the raid fell apart because I wasn't there, which, again, what the hell do you want me to do? I'm at my job. I have, you know, a real life position. You know, as much as I would love to live in the game forever, I have real world stuff I have to take care of. So, yeah. But it's my fault because you set the time at a weird time and you try to do something knowing that you can't do it, and you made promises you couldn't keep, but it is somehow the GM's fault. Because I guess I have to be a scapegoat. And that's the other thing about TC, is he's complained historically about dumb shit the entire time he's been here. There's I have an archive of DMs of him complaining about things, even when he wasn't even playing WoW. He'd complain about stuff we did. And I always try to be nice, because that's usually how I go. I always try to be the nice person. But after a while, after so many years, you just kind of want to tune out, you know? But he started acting kind of like a little shithead, and I finally just had to put him in his place, and then I had to basically bar him from the community because I don't want his toxicity around. That's one of the things I've been very proud of, is we don't have more than maybe 5% toxicity. Twinking's pretty toxic in general, and we've escaped that for the most part. Maybe it's because we don't do PvP, or can't do PvP, but I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. It was just, you know, I lost another raid leader, and honestly, it's not really a rank that I need, or I should say that we need. It'd just be one that would be nice, you know, that way it's not relying on me. Because in the words of a officer that we have, a guild that runs itself is a successful guild. The less I have to do, the happier I think I am, and the happier everyone else is. And luckily there is a few people. That's pretty cool. There's this one individual, her name is Petme. She likes to basically recruit people to do raids, and I log on, just like the other day I logged on, and she's like, hey, we're doing Black Temple, and I'm like, what? So we went and did Black Temple. I wasn't expecting this. I didn't think my whole night was going to be spent in Black Temple, but it was. And it was a good time, good fun. I even made a good video out of it. But that's what I want. That's what I expect. Like, I don't think she wants to be a raid leader or anything, because I don't think that's something she would want to do, but it was unexpected, and she set it up. So, hey, it happened, and everyone had a good time. That was great. I mean, you know what I mean? And, you know, hey, we offer Herald of the Titans for free. We've always historically offered it for free. We don't really charge for that. It is free, as I've said, free. But if you want to be generous and donate a tip for the service, you're more than welcome to. I will not say no. If we actually charged for this, I think we'd be the richest community outside of Liquid. And that's because we've literally gotten this freaking title for over 200 people. We've gotten this title for a lot of people. And if, say, we charged for 200k, which is like the going rate, I think, back in Shadowlands, we'd have a lot of money. Like, our 30s community would be stacked in gold right now. My warbank would be looking fresh. I'd have all the tier 3 transmog I could buy. But, you know, I'm such a nice guy. We're such a nice community. We don't charge for that. We do charge for, however, for the blood infusion service, and that's only because it is Druidman's service, and Druidman is the only one that knows how to do it, so I think it's only fair that he dictates if he charges or not. Which he does. And personally, I don't think it's a bad rate. I forgot his rate. It's like 200k or 300k or something. But considering it's the only way you're going to get it successfully, and you're going to make your money back selling the goods from it, I don't see it being a problem, personally. Plus, you get a really good weapon, which is good for the bracket. It's good for your character if you can use it. You know, hey, make warriors great again. Like, this is what you do. You get Shadowmourne. So, I don't think it's bad. I know somebody, TC. I didn't think we were going to do a drama scoop today, but, you know, hey. Like I said, I like to be transparent. That's the best way I can say this. I don't want to sit there and just, like, be like, what do you mean they're gone? Oh, well, who knows? No, I'm gonna go ahead and say it because it's my community, and I feel like it needs to be said because there are people who have asked me about, hey, where's TC? Kind of like, hey, where's Duty? Whenever Duty left, TC had a big problem with Druidman doing the blood infusion service. He thought it was a disgrace that we would even charge for it, or that he would even charge for it, and I would allow it. And my response is like, hey, what do you want me to do? You want me to fly out to where he lives and break his arm and threaten him to not charge? At the end of the day, if he's the only one that can do it, and if he charges, what can I do? You want me to ban him from the community? Like, no one's complaining about this, so it's just you, and that's kind of what he does, is complain about everything. I think of it like being a prima donna. Like, I have an issue with grown men complaining about dumb things. Like, if you're talking about it, explaining it, like, that's one thing, like, kind of like what I'm doing. Maybe that's just me rationalizing it, I don't know. But if you're like a grown man complaining about the most trivial things, it irks the living shit out of me. I get so mad over that. And this is just like one of those things. And even in his own words, he said that Druidman was running a cartel on the service, which is just stupid. Like I said, he's been around, but he hasn't really been around, so I don't know. Maybe the next time we get a raid leader, hopefully it won't be like TC, but with the Herald of the Titans, we successfully ran it, and it is a very gimpy fight. We even have a guy, one of my officers made an add-on so you can check your gear to see if you pass. Blizzard has a spaghetti code, so we only allow, if you listen to this podcast and you want to come get the achievement, we offer it like at the end of the month, pretty much. It may be this month or next month before we do it again, but we will make sure you get it if you're NA, and we even have EU doing it now thanks to Sosta. My EU GM, he is actually just ran his first Herald, and he got people the achievement. I'm very happy and very proud of him. That's quite the accomplishment. I've been waiting for EU to get it forever. So it's really cool that he did it. I'm very happy about that. This just opens up a whole new doorway for him, and I hope he keeps doing it. But anyways, back on the add-on. One of my guys named Fate, he designed an add-on, and it'll check your gear. And we actually did not use the add-on, and we did not get the achievement last week. So I said, okay, hey, we'll do it again next Saturday. Well, Saturday came, and we got the achievement for, I believe, 9 people. So that's just 9 more people added to the list of people that we got the achievement for. And it was good fun. Of course, every time we get the achievement, there's always, like, a handful of people that just leaves the community, and that happens all the time. It's just kind of like, okay, well, I guess bye. You're welcome, by the way. Nobody ever says thank you, too. That's another thing. I grew up in the South, and please and thank yous go a long way, and usually people don't ever say thank you. They just say cool later. I don't know. It's stupid. The other thing I was going to talk about is raid sizes, and this goes back to what I was discussing earlier with Golden Twinkies community. They always try to have like the maximum amount of people for their raids, which is not required for like 99% of the freaking content we can even do. I think ICC like 25-man heroic is the only time you're going to need a full 25-man group to do. Maybe even Ruby Sanctum. And that's just assuming you're actually geared correctly, which I know some of their people were not geared correctly because I have looked at their armories. And it's just kind of like, well, I mean, you're doing the best you can with what you got, and that's fine. Maybe you don't know exactly what to do, and that's not really a big deal. Like, we do have gearing guides, so if you do the 30 stuff, we pretty much can tell you, like, how to optimize your character. But, with me, I don't really care. You're free to do whatever you want. You can gear however you want. I'm not going to, tell you what you can and can't wear, personally. It's just if you're going to do, like, hard rating like that one, I do want you to at least have some kind of effort on your character. The raids are very hard when you get to that level. But, like, for Molten Core, I think, like, a group of 5 people is fine. Karazhan's basically an extended dungeon. You can do Karazhan with just, like, 5 people, no issue. Maybe even 3 if you have good players. Serpent Shrine Caverns, you can do it probably 10 people. Like, no issue. Just the raids like that. Blackwing Lair is probably one of the harder harder raids. You would definitely need at least 10 people. There's a lot of gimpy mechanics in there. ICC, you're gonna want the full group. Even on normal 10-man, maybe with like 7 people who are like super geared, you can do it. The point is, you don't need a full group, and that was something else that like TC was complaining about. He wanted to have full groups like Golden Twinkies, and if you've been around long enough, you're gonna know like instantly that that does not matter. You do not need that many people to do this stuff. I don't sit here and want us to be that kind of community. I don't want us to have like the maximum amount of players, because you get burnt out quickly. If you have too many people, then what's the point of even doing the content? You can clear it in 20 minutes and you're done with the raid for the whole night. But if 7 or 8, maybe 10 people log on, hey, you got a good 2-hour raid, so let's go have fun for 2 hours. That's how I look at it. That's how we've always done it. That's why it's always been successful, and that's why people have always had fun and come back. It's because of the system that we do. The biggest raid we ever had was an entire like 30-man Herald group, and we did Ulduar. That was fun. We also did the time walking Ulduar too. But we did that with like max levels. We didn't just do it with 30s, so it's not really, I guess, comparable. But it was very clear that like, hey, when you get enough people like this, you just kind of destroy the content. And we are a raiding community, first place raiding community. Shadowlands, everything was way harder. I want to make a podcast episode talking about Shadowlands, how great that one was, but we'll do that one eventually in the future. But the Shadowlands raiding scene, it was just way harder than what it is now. Dragonflight was too easy. War Within's kind of like a nice in between. It's still easy. Shadowlands, like, you needed a full group of people. Like, if you're gonna do Sunwell, you need like 20 people. Dragonflight, I don't know, like, hey, 5 people, we can do pretty much everything. The War Within, it's like that sweet spot where you like, oh, we have 8 people online tonight, cool, we can chug out a couple things, Also, too, like, this one made me laugh, because I know that they had a full group to go do Eye of Eternity to kill Malagos, and you can do Malagos with 2 people. It's so bad. Like, whenever Petmi's on, she's like, hey, let's go do this. I'm like, okay, well, hey, you want to do Eye of Eternity? It's a quick 2-minute raid. I mean, you can't really extend that one by much unless you wear, like, the crappiest gear ever. But it's a fun raid, because, you can even get 2 mounts, so, like, spend 2 minutes to raid, and then you get rewarded, possibly. And one of the mounts I still don't have, so, like, I do not mind doing that one. Hey. I don't know. I've had somebody bring it up too that they're like, man, we have a lot of like gossip and stuff going on right now. And I don't think so personally. I just think it's more of like, we've been around long enough now where people just complain about dumb shit. And since I've been the GM for a little while now, like, you're gonna hear about it. Duty heard about it when Duty was in charge. Everyone complained to Duty and it was driving him crazy. Like, it got to the point where he didn't even want people in his DMs. Like, right now, I have 2 Discord accounts. I have a completely different account for mobile, so I don't have to worry about GM stuff all day. Maybe it's a bad idea. It kind of sounds like a bad idea, because, like, if I need to address something, I can't, because I'm not on the correct account. But I did this because when I'm at work, I got people bombarding me with, like, trivial things, dumb things, interesting things, questions. Questions are never bad to ask, but sometimes I get people that get upset because I'm not answering quick enough, because I'm doing real life stuff, and it's very distracting because I work one of those jobs where I need to pay attention to what I'm doing. So I don't want to sit there and play on my phone. I want to make sure I'm getting my job done correctly, so there's no issues. So I have another account, and few people know it's me. Other people don't really know or care, and that's fine. It's probably the best route. I actually think it's fun too. I like to look at it like I'm taking a vacation for myself, and that's the best way to go about it, But I don't know. I'm sure I forgot something or missed something, but maybe we can bring it in the next time. I'm gonna start a new little mini series for the podcast for TotemCast, where I'm gonna be talking about the legacy of specific classes, like what changes would you make to make the class better? What is it missing? Like how can we improve it? Like what is your wish list basically for that? And I think the next one we're going to start with Warrior. So I have a guest coming on. And that's going to be something else too, like each one's going to have a guest. Maybe the Monk one, I'll do that one myself, or I'll just have Daki on, because me and Daki are like the only two people that really play Monk. There's a couple other people, but it's not like me and Daki. Me and Daki are like the only Monk players for 30. So anyways, thank you guys very much for listening through this. Please, rate it. Leave a comment if you enjoyed it. Obviously leave a like. If you are new here, please subscribe. Everything helps the channel. Everything helps the podcast. And I will see everybody in the next one. Thank you for listening to TotemCast, and have a good night. Bye.